we really need somebody who understands the private sector, who understands how taking risk, risking capital is the way we create jobs, create choices, expand freedom. More important around the world than democracy is free enterprise, because free enterprise has always been a prerequisite for functioning democracy. We've seen in Iraq, you can let people vote all you want, but if you don't have the institutions of freedom set up, in a large part free enterprise, choices, contract law, those kind of things, if they don't work, you've got a problem. And I think we've forgotten in Congress that creating a good business environment does require low taxes, less litigation, less regulation, and some fundamentals that someone like a Mitt Romney understands. So he understands the private sector's and the free market side of our economy, and he's also demonstrated that he knows how to make good decisions in that environment. The legislature doesn't prepare you to be a CEO. Again, in fact, quite the opposite. The longer you stay in Congress, the less likely you are to be a good manager, in the sense that you can assess a situation, collect good information, put good people around you, make good decisions, and then have a team to get it done. That's not a skill set of most legislators. And these aren't 10-second sound bites. They probably won't work their way into your article. But they're, for me, I didn't know Mitt Romney when I endorsed him. I knew he was a business guy who had tried to make private health insurance work in Massachusetts rather than government health care. And I saw what he had been able to do with a lot of business turnarounds, and I know what that is involved because I was a consultant to many CEOs. Saw what he did to the Olympics. Those are real situations, and all the candidates now are trying to grab a clip of what someone said 10 or 15 years ago and said, oh, look. But all you have to do is look at what they've done. If you want to know what Mitt Romney's values are, you can clearly see it in his family life. You cannot measure someone who's been in Congress or the Senate that way. There's no measure.
So you're not troubled by the fact that he was pro-choice not that long ago?
No, that's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful thing. Reagan was pro-choice. And millions of Americans were pro-choice and became pro-life. That's the whole...
What if he goes back, though? There's that potential, since he's been there and been back and been back again.
That's the most ridiculous thing could be said.
You don't think he could change his mind again?
He has never acted in any way in office other than what he said he was going to do.
Which was to back, have an essentially pro-choice administration.
That everything he did as governor was either neutral or supporting life on those issues. He never did anything that would affect a pro-choice decision as a governor. He was just on record because his family was, but it's just something he hadn't thought that much about years ago. I was the same way at some point, where I had decided well before I ran for Congress that I was pro-life, but it certainly wasn't something top of my mind for many years. And so I appreciate anyone who's come along on that issue. And I'm not aware of any other issue where he's changed his position.
How do y'all combat, though, that stereotype that certainly McCain's campaign has pushed of Romney being a flip-flopper?
Well, it's just I just have to smile because I've worked with McCain, and I'm not going to talk about the other candidate, except Romney has been much more consistent throughout his life than any other candidate that I'm aware of. As far as his philosophy, what he's done, his abilities. And certainly he can say things as a national candidate that he had to be more careful of as a candidate for governor in Massachusetts, which I respect. I'd never get elected in Massachusetts unless I bit my tongue in half.